Hey, I bet nobody expected to see this type of video again. I'm back with two more special guests who I would very much like to have them introduce themselves.
Sure, go
Chris, you
ahead.
go first.
I go first. Hi, I'm Chris. I do Twitch streaming stuff. I used to work with Patrick at TOVG and helped edit Beer Bros and work on completionist stuff, and that's who I am.
Yeah, that's him. He's awesome. I'm Patrick. I currently work for TOVG. I'm the editor for The Completionist. I've been there for about 2 years now, and it's great. I love video games.
I love video games too. Chris, do you love video games?
Listen, that's pretty much my whole life. So yes, I do love video games.
Guys, we have so much in common.
Oh my
It's
God.
Awesome.
Real talk. Video games are awesome. So, on the last discussion video, I asked a series of questions. I'm just gonna repeat those questions to you and maybe try and throw in a curveball or two.
Oh no, I don't know if we're ready for that.
Listen, I'm ready for anything.
Oh snap!
Oh, Snapple?
Snapple.
Oh.
I still have that terrible Gerard Photoshop I did for my Minish Cap Let's Play. Editing me, put it on screen.
Oh gosh, you gotta be careful when you start calling out stuff for yourself.
Were you guys, Pat? Who was all there for when we did the grand? We had like a sandwich thing. Oh my God.
Oh.
What?
Oh, I have no idea. Editing.
Oh. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll just start with the first question of what are either your favorite or some of your favorite video games?
That's actually a pretty tough question because I do honestly like a handful of games and like a lot of genres. I would probably say some of my favorites right now, and it's partially because of nostalgia, because when I started playing video games, I started with like Monster Rancher 2 and Digimon World 1 and Pokemon. So a lot of my favorite games have to do with, I guess, like raising creatures and monsters. So I would say probably Pokemon, any of them are on my top list, as well as I just got the new Digimon World for PS4, and it is dope as heck.
Oh, that game looks so good. I watched a bit of it.
It's so good, dude. It's so good.
And like, I was almost completely in the Pokemon camp, but secretly I was like, oh, Digimon's pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I was unabashedly a nerd for both, and I was like, I don't give a shit. I like it both. I'm cool with it. Don't judge me.
My sister and I still have the Digimon trading cards.
That's old school.
It's like, so anyway, Pat, sorry for cutting you off there.
No, I was just gonna say, back in like the days, Digimon World 2 was my jam.
So good.
The only Digimon game I ever played was this terrible desktop one that was like so unbelievably hard that you could put it in an arcade and it would probably take about $10 million worth of quarters.
Yo, just gobbling up them quarters.
Yeah, it was like I'm trying to remember. It was like isometric combat, except the sprites were zoomed way out, so they were incredibly small.
Weird.
And it was like I think you didn't even get a Digimon. You were just a human.
What?
Wait, so you were like a human fighting against Digimon?
It was or we were like a human-shaped Digimon, but it was this like terrible.
Oh no!
It was this terrible like for kids.
I'm literally gonna look this up right now.
I don't even know if it was real. It might just be a fever dream.
It could be a fever. It could be one of those like terrible third-party ripoffs too. Hold on.
Oh, yo, it sounds
Yeah.
exactly like one of those.
Yeah, I'm just gonna type in isometric Digimon game 2003? Question mark. I got Digimon World 3, which is totally not what it is.
Yeah, not the same.
Like, and it was specifically for PC too. That's the weird thing.
Dude, there's a Sega Saturn Digimon game
Get out of here.
in 1998. Digimonsters versus Digitamers.
Hold on. What was it called?
Digital Monster versus Digimon
man.
Tamers.
I'm literally going to Wikipedia to look this up because it.
This one might be it. This is called Digital Monster versus Wonder Swan. I
Oh,
don't
don't know.
I don't know what this is.
Digimon has the deepest video game lore.
I think we're getting close to the right year. Digimon Adventure, a Node Tamer.
Yo, I think we're getting close to some dark stuff here.
We got Pocket Digimon World for PlayStation.
I don't.
That's a good one.
I never played that one. Was it fun?
Wait, did you say Digimon World?
I said Pocket Digimon World.
Oh, no, that's a fake one. That's not even real.
Yeah, I don't think that's real. It only sold like 10 copies in Japan only.
And one guy has 9 of them.
That's probably true. And now we're getting into the real games, so it's got to be one of these early ones. Maybe it's the versus Wonder Swan.
Maybe it's. I don't even remember what it was called. All I remember is my sister, who we switched. I used to be terrible at video games. She used to be amazing, but we switched. So now she's still good at video games. It's just I can like adjust to any control scheme almost immediately.
Sure,
So
we'll say you have more practice.
More practice is probably the better thing. But like I don't even remember. Like I said, it might just have been a fever dream. Anyway, that's really off topic. But yeah, Digimon.
Listen, that's
Digimon
fine.
Is dope. I'm okay talking about that.
Chris,
Talk to me.
let's say that you had to pick your favorite gen of Pokemon.
Ooh.
Like we're just talking like purely from a game standpoint.
Yeah.
From a game standpoint, I'm gonna send away my opinion and not Generation 1.
Whoa.
Generation 1 was a good game, but going back to it now, like on Virtual Console, it's just, how did that game sell? It was so broken.
Yeah, the mechanics were really tough because if you were a fast Pokemon, no matter what, you got critical hits.
Yeah, it's what made Raticate, like, something actually viable.
Sure, yeah.
Right, Eradicate, Persian, Dodrio.
Electrode.
Honestly, Patrick, if I'm gonna answer this, I think it's got to be the Kalos region.
Gen 6 was tight.
It's either that one or Black and White. My absolute. I would probably have to go Kalos, because Kalos introduced a lot of my newest favorite Pokemon, like
Right.
Dragalge and oh my god, there's so many good ones in this one.
Aurorus.
Scolipede.
Scolipede is great. I love it. Because
Yeah, I
Just-
gotta go Kalos. I think Chandelure's Kalos.
Oh yeah, I mean.
Hydreigon.
wait, no, I thought that was Unova.
Oh no, you're right.
Unova is it. They all have some. They get really weird names.
It's true. I mean, I love Xerneas and Yveltal too. They're some of my favorite legendaries. I think they look the coolest.
Yeah.
Xerneas is awesome.
Yeah, Xerneas is dope.
It's just
like-
it's straight out of a Miyazaki film.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
It's so pretty.
If I had to like look at like my favorite one though, it'd have to be Gen 3.
yes, I
Just because of like all of the content in those games. And like
Yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
knows because he completed or he helped like being there while Gerard was completing all of them.
ooh,
Yeah, I got
so,
to support
like-
Gerard during the
Yeah,
here. That poor guy.
didn't he just end up completing all 3 versions?
Yeah, that's the little secret of all the Pokemons is like so that his guests will actually come back.
Right.
He's the one that completes them. And you know, Ruby and Sapphire aren't bad, but it's
Emerald
it's
is where
Emerald.
it at.
Yeah.
Well, like
Emerald is
for
a
me,
monster of a game.
like I want to do a Pokemon Emerald solo LP, and it's just like I don't know enough about the Battle Frontier to
Dude,
do it.
it's
Listen, if you're like,
ridiculous.
it's so tough.
It's
Table
so
watching a man struggle for 10 hours a day for 7 days straight in a row. Oof.
oh, that's
But mind you, that was, completing it on a deadline, so Gerard had to, try to get through it as best as he could.
yeah. I mentioned this with Brad and Ted the other day, but since you guys are the ones who have to tell him what games to complete, for the love of God, never let him complete Nier.
Oh yeah. I heard you telling them that.
Yeah, do you
I'm
appreciate how I
assuming,
censored it?
yeah, I'm assuming that's in the same one as Near Automata that's coming out.
Yeah, well, that game's lore is the most confusing, and I'd say it's more confusing than Kingdom Hearts.
Oh Jesus.
Sure,
So here's where
that's tough.
here's where it
That's
starts.
tough.
In canonical order of games, it starts with Drakengard 3,
Mhm.
Drakengard 1,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Drakengard 1's joke ending leads into Nier. 8 novels, a screenplay, and a music band later is Nier Automata.
Yeah, that'll make sense. That's the progression usually nowadays.
Yeah, I'm not kidding about the band, the like idol group thing either. That's actually like a canon thing.
Beautiful.
Like they're all really dark games. Like I think I think the party list for Drakengard 1 is like your protagonists are a mass murdering psycho, a cannibal, and a pedophile.
Jeez, man, that sounds crazy.
It is. They're also not very well made. Like they're weird. They're really weird games because the guy behind them is like the reason why he makes hyper violent games is ironically to like make fun of the hyper violent nature of the games industry. So he makes his protagonists as unlikable or ironically destructive as possible.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. So it's like, well, why should you be cheering this guy on? He just killed 30,000 soldiers. Like that sort of thing.
I think it's interesting though when some of our favorite games or most nostalgic games end up just being like awful games.
Oh.
Not like oh this game has a mass murderer as its lead protagonist, but
That's
like this is objectively a bad game.
It's a rough game.
Yeah, like I think the game I have the absolute most nostalgia for is probably Donkey Kong 64.
Donkey Kong 64 is awesome.
Yeah, I still think that's a decently solid game. It's just tough now because the
Yeah.
game is so shitty.
Well,
Oh,
it's
there's
just like
so much to collect in that game.
Yeah.
well, and like I'm doing a my friend and I are doing a glitch run. So
Oh, sure.
I've seen Lanky Kong enter the abyss of like I did this joke where we had to clip through a wall and it was just pitch black. So I superimposed some Dark Souls assets and scaled them up
Really
as
good.
Lanky moved forward. It looks
Oh, it's
really
very funny.
it looks really terrible, but I think that's what makes it funny.
Right, that's what makes it good. It's just like how it's like, oh no.
Actually, no. The game I'm most nostalgic for is either Sonic Adventure 2 or Yoshi's Story.
Sonic Adventure 2 is a good one because I loved that game when it came out, and I tried to play it kind of recently, and I had it on my Xbox or whatever store that had it.
It's on everything now.
Yeah, and I was playing it, and I was like, oh man, the voice acting's so bad, and the lip syncing is really bad.
Terria!
Oh god,
That
it's
scene
so
is-
bad. It's just so rough.
I booted up Sonic Adventure 1 a few weeks ago, and it was just like, oh no, I'm glad I didn't like this game. I
like-
couldn't get past Big the Cat.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, I was gonna say, one of the games that I always think about with nostalgia is Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
I've
I
heard
think-
that one's fun.
And I was saying, I think
It's a lot of fun. You want to talk about a game that graphically hasn't held up though.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's kind of an unforgiving game too. Like if you kill a key story
Yeah.
member by accident, you literally cannot finish the game.
Oh no.
It's like it says like you kill this guy and it goes you have doomed the world, and the
Yep.
sky kind of goes dark, and you're like, oh no.
Oh no. Oh dear. Yeah, like I think actually like with trying me attempting but probably going to fail again to get back on like the original question of like your favorite games. Nostalgia definitely has a factor in that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, of course.
Like the reason why like I'm not nostalgic for Super Mario 64 is because I could never get enough stars to fight Bowser the last time.
Mm. Yeah, that's definitely going to have an effect. At the same time, two of my favorite games of all time are Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past and Final Fantasy X.
Oh
Christ.
yes, I agree with you so much on Link to the Past. Final
Oh,
Final Fantasy X for me is just it's fun. It doesn't do anything particularly wrong, so I can't find reason to even like criticize it.
see, well, and that makes sense to me though, because a lot of the reasons why I like those games so much, and I think we see it in a lot of series, is those were both my first Zelda game and my first Final Fantasy. So it was my
Yeah.
first like foray into these realms.
My first Final Fantasy was the Game Boy Advance port of Final Fantasy 1.
That's
Oh
cool.
wow!
That or it was Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced.
Final
Okay,
Fantasy
pretty
Tactics
cool.
Advance. I must have put 300 hours into that
Oh,
game.
I did. I played it like super frequently, and then I got to the point where I was just like, I'm gonna make my main character a mage. I'm gonna do a story quest. What do you mean it's a one-on-one fight?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then it's just like ah, and I couldn't beat it because I was a dumb 12-year-old, and my strategy was hit them with my sword till they stop moving.
Hey, that's a pretty solid strategy. Works
True.
like 95% of the time.
Yeah.
I was pretty 100% sure you were gonna say Shadow of Colossus, and I was gonna be like, oh my god, come on.
I do love Shadow of the Colossus.
I'm with Gerard. I just not my favorite game in the whole
Hey,
world.
Gerard's admitted that game's not as bad as he once thought it was.
It's objectively an amazing game, but I didn't dig it. Didn't do anything.
Yeah,
for it.
I see. This is how bad I am at puzzles. I literally had to have my friend beat the entire game for me because I could not figure out the puzzles on actually beating the Colossi.
They're tough. It's like a whole interesting like climbing dynamic, and there's like bars you have to man. It's a whole thing.
And that fucking snake.
The snake.
Yeah.
That snake actually was too scary for me to beat.
Oh yeah, yeah. That thing was terrifying.
Like, as soon as you make it so
afraid
I-
that you're going to be running into the wall.
Yeah, it's like that's terrifying, and like at that point I didn't have the reflexes to go arrow, snipe, turn, like just and then dodge. Like if I went back now, I could probably actually beat that game in like 2 sittings at most.
Yeah, it's not a very long game at all.
No, and like, well, I like the more atmospheric, like the fact that it's so open a lot of the time is. I can see why it turns people off.
I think generally though that's a studio. You know what we've seen with Eco and The Last Guardian, where that game is less about showing it off and more about your personal experience with it.
Oh yeah, no, the experience is the sole goal of the game is to give a great experience, and I think that really it's both a selling point and a turning off point for it because people like Chris and Gerard don't like that sort of thing.
Right, right. Chris doesn't have a soul, and Gerard just doesn't,
Wait,
quite get
wait.
it.
Oh, and if I made that joke, I would immediately make someone hate me. I was gonna say, oh, I'll say it anyway. I can just bleep it out if the reaction's bad. Is Chris ginger?
I certainly
Wow.
am not ginger. I am very blonde. My beard's got a little
Like
bit.
dirty blonde.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm a brunette. Oh, dude. But yeah, like, wait, what was the original point again?
We're just talking about favorite games and
Yeah.
going back to that.
Well,
Favorite games, and like I was
Nostalgic
saying,
glasses.
Link to the Past. I'll go back and I'll play that game, once a year or once every year and a half, and I'll just play through it because I have such a blast every time I play it. It takes my mind away from everything else that I'm working on.
Is that the bouncy worm boss that I hated?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
That game's pretty dope, admittedly.
It,
Like, I
it's
really
that
like
boss is worse in Link's Awakening because it's a smaller room.
Yeah, that's awful. And
Oh.
it was actually.
It was actually what?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were holding on. It was actually very difficult in A Link Between Worlds as well.
Oh, that's right. It comes back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually in a lot of the top-down Zeldas.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, okay, it's in Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, Link Between Worlds, Four Swords
don't-
Adventure.
I don't think it was a boss, but the small ones were in the Oracle's games.
God, could you
Oh,
imagine trying to
yeah.
fight something like that in Ocarina of Time?
It'd be terrifying.
Yeah, that would be absolutely horrifying.
Oh, I kind of want Breath of the Wild to have a giant one, and it's like the most terrifying design ever. Like,
I'd be down. I would be so down.
give
that
it
would be actually
like
pretty dope.
70 rows of teeth, and
Maybe like a
like
giant, like, scary worm chain chomp monster bullshit, something like that.
yeah, like I mentioned like 5 of my favorite games, including my favorite one, but I'll mention a couple others just for my taste on games. Sonic Adventure 2, because I'm a nostalgia-blinded scrub who likes admittedly bad game.
It's all good.
Dark Souls 2, mostly just because I can beat the bosses in that game reliably, whereas Dark Souls 1, some of those bosses are so unfair.
This
Yeah.
one is tough.
Yeah. Well, it's
I'm
like,
on the Moth right now, and don't think I'm ever getting back.
oh, the Moonlight Butterfly is a fucking pain.
Well, and it's the Moonlight Butterfly, and I don't think that you have any ranged weapon, Chris.
No, because I was so stupid. I was like, I'm gonna try a sorcerer or a mage, whatever the hell it is, the first time through.
Oh,
Not
that's a
knowing
mistake.
Anything about the goddamn game.
Like, the thing with Dark Souls is, unfortunately, magic is only good in player versus player.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And even then, it's terrible.
Fair enough.
Like, it's only good because you can give yourself, like, magic weapon, which is extra damage, or magic shield that minimizes damage.
Right, you still end up basically playing them like a warrior.
Yeah, it's... You can totally do a bow and arrow build, or... Heck, Pyromancer is... In Dark Souls 1 is unequivocally one of the best things to do, because it gives you access to some of the best buffs.
Oh, fair. I didn't know that. Fair enough.
Like, there's a spell you can get in Blight Town called Power Within. It takes away your HP over time, but doubles or triples your damage.
Jesus.
So,
Pretty nuts so but so.
I actually have a fun story. I have a friend who used to speedrun that game. Glitchless runs for him would take about 50 minutes.
Wow.
And with glitches, about half an hour.
Ooh.
That's crazy.
So, he told me the story of how he did a no armor, no weapon run on New Game Plus 8 in Dark Souls 1. Which, for those of you who don't know, the game gets more difficult up until until you're doing your 9th New Game Plus. In
Right.
which case, they just can't up the HP or damage anymore without making it impossible. So he did a naked run, just sprinted past every enemy, walked in a boss room, punched the boss once, and it died. He did that to the final boss. He ran past everything, and because that boss starts with a jumping overhead attack, he just parries, so critical hit, powered within, strike, and just drained the guy's entire health bar in one punch.
That's
Oh man.
kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that's tight.
Another game I love, Kirby Air Ride.
Air Ride is dope.
It's hard as hell to get everything, but oh my gosh, it's so much fun.
So fun. I put too many hours into that game.
Yeah, it's so... City Trial is where I spent most afternoons some months.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, City Trial was so much fun.
Well, like, and especially when you get the Hydra or the Dragoon, like the legendary
Right.
vehicles, and then you get like Fight King DDD,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, yeah, and like you actually manage to beat him because that fight is obnoxiously hard. Like, I'm talking one of the hardest fights imaginable in a racing game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I guess I'll actually move on to the second question, though we've probably already covered it.
Maybe.
What makes a good game? And oppositely, what makes a bad game?
That's a loaded question because, like, you know, I think Pat and I probably personally talked about this with each other before, and I think it's a multi-layered idea of like what makes a good game. You know, objectively for me, I guess rather not objectively, personally for me, you know, I need at least a somewhat compelling story to even remotely buy into the game. If it's something that I can't care for, then I just kind of am like, okay, whatever, and I kind of let it go, and I don't think of it as a great game. I also think like core mechanics are really important. You know, if your gameplay sucks, then later, man, you might as well not even go with it. So I guess for me, like, good game has to have a good story. Graphics can be hit or miss, but like at least your core like gameplay controls and mechanics need to be tight for it to be a good game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and kind of bouncing off of that, another guy who works at TOVG, Brett Bayonne, of
Yeah.
the Super Couch Fighters.
Yeah, I'm in his Discord.
Absolutely, as everyone should be.
No, know what? I'm gonna plug the Super Couch Fighters with my whole 114 subscribers.
Yo, get 113 more over there.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go!
But him and I have talked, you know, quite a bit about this as well. And for him, while story still matters to an extent, I think, in his opinion, story can really weigh a game down. The thing that makes a game good for him is mechanically it has to be very sound, and gameplay above everything else is the most important. Which is interesting because I generally go in the same route with Chris, where I need my game to have a good story. It needs to be compelling.
Yeah.
But I also get it. Like, I've played games with bad gameplay, and it's a slog.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone back and I've played like the first Mass Effect versus the second Mass Effect.
Oh, that's night and day.
Oh,
Like-
And like the gameplay in the first one makes it such a pain to play, especially compared to how good the gameplay is in the second one.
absolutely. The mechanics are just really tough in the first game.
Yeah. Hey, how's your grenade button being on select on the Xbox 360 controller?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've used a grenade about 3 times every time I've
I
played that
only
game.
use them in the one mission where it's like, use these stun grenades to non-lethally
Oh, yeah,
kill
yeah.
people, and it's like,
on Barrows.
it's so
Oh, yeah.
awkward because I have to take my thumb off the joystick to move.
Yeah, it's very weird. But it also helps that 2 has a much better story.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love it when stories are like, yeah, you can go to the final boss. You're gonna die, but there you go.
You can do it. But going with that too, I think having a relatable protagonist really helps, and we see that not only in gaming but in literature and movies as well. I'm not saying like sticking with Mass Effect. I'm not saying like, oh man, I can see myself in John or Jane Shepard, but they have such a human element to them. You know, they have flaws that they have to overcome, and it
Yeah.
really makes us connect better to them.
100%.
Well, for me, it is more story, and that I'm willing to forgive bad gameplay for a good story. Which I know for some people is just like, they can't.
That's a cardinal
Right.
thing. They're like, no, not doing that.
Like, for me, Nier's gameplay, because that's still probably my favorite game of all time, I can just say straight up, it is mindless, badly done hack and slash. You have a light attack, Or no, not even a light attack. You have a basic combo string and some magic spells. But that's it. That's it for your gameplay aside from a jump and the best block in gaming history in that it is a 360-degree unbreakable block.
Oh my god.
Yo, that's pretty good.
It's a pretty good block, but there is one gameplay element. You can ride a boar for one area, and what do you not think you would be able to do on a mounted animal?
Block?
Drift.
Drift? What?
You can drift
That
on a
kind of
boar.
hilarious.
So
That's top tier.
someone-
That's a top tier game mechanic.
Got some slippery hooves.
Well, it was actually found out as a glitch with how they programmed it, but they all found it so hilarious they had to leave it in. Like,
Yeah, sure.
oh, this just made traversing this one area way more fun because you can just get on a boar, double track drift your way through it, and you're invincible while you're drifting, so any enemies that pop up are like, I'm gonna fight you while you're on this boar. Oh no, I'm off the cliff!
Yo, that sounds awesome. I'd leave that in too.
Yeah, if I was like a dev and I saw that,
Well,
probably
for
you don't-
Nier sequel, Nier Automata, they actually made sure it was in. They
It
actually
became
said,
such an iconic thing.
yeah, because it was just like, you can look up video like Nier boar drifting, and it'll play the Super Mario Super Nintendo music over the character drifting around on a boar.
Beautiful.
That's actually incredible.
Something that I was thinking about though is there are games out there, and the one that most pops in my head is a game called Dear Esther.
I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it, though.
So, without spoiling anything, that game is more like a visual novel in a lot of ways, except for you're moving. So you walk through this environment, and you go through this environment just finding out about the story as you go.
That's pretty cool.
See, for me, that's where it doesn't do enough in the gameplay side for me to stay interested in this game. I played through it, and I just didn't care about the story because the gameplay wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So-
One of those things. It's like, well, you're like, well, I might as well just watch a TV episode or a movie about this. And
Exactly. I felt like it was pointless for me to even be controlling this character because my life wasn't in any danger at all.
Right.
Not saying that there has to be like danger in a video game to keep me invested, but I think that there needs to be a balance to, at least hit X amount of a value for it to be a good game.
truth.
Yeah, and the visual novels totally can work as games. We'll see the Phoenix Wright series as one.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I can pull up Nier again, because something it's known for is being weird with its gameplay. In that, there's one section where you go into a town, you start talking to a guy, and a narrator comes in and starts telling the characters what they're doing. Except the characters go, wait a minute, I don't do that. And the narrator pretty much says, yes, you do. And it slowly fades to black, and it turns into a visual novel for about 40 minutes.
It's very fun, fourth wall breaking.
Or not a visual novel, a text adventure game.
Sure, that's tight.
It also has an entire dungeon where every room has a rule, and if you break the rule, you restart the room.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's like, don't get hit. Okay, I won't get hit. You don't get hit, you get through the room. Then they word them weirdly. So it's like no rabbits allowed, no jumping. Or like no attacking or no magic or things like that. And it's a very weird dungeon.
Sure.
That sounds kind of dope, actually. They
Yeah,
tell
like
you ahead of time what you can't do, or it's
it
like
tells you
do
ahead
the
of
thing.
time. It's like you enter a room, it's like, here is the rule for this room. Don't break this rule or you have to restart the simple puzzle.
That'd be really fun if that mechanic was you have to figure out what the rule is in the room.
I was just thinking that. Like, you walk in the room and you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna have to do. And you jump and it shoots you back, or like, but maybe jumping wasn't quite it. It was something you did while you were jumping.
Like
Right.
you jump and then dodge roll.
Right, you're trying to figure out exactly. That would be dope if it was like a chain of them too, almost like a memory game.
Yeah, and well, but since it's only the one room, it's not even that much of a punishment if you like take a few times to figure out what the rule is.
Right.
Yeah, like, and that's sort of how they balanced it, because they could have done that. They could have not told the rules, but I have a feeling during play testing they went, you know what? Someone could conceivably not realize what's happening, because they don't establish that the dungeon can do this outside of saying, here's a rule, one of your party members goes, fuck that rule, I'm gonna jump and swing my 2 swords all over the fucking place, and she gets taken by a giant magical block to somewhere else, and the other party member goes, probably shouldn't break the rules. Like, another thing for me for, like, games, though, is character.
Yes.
Like, the party doesn't have to get along, but I don't like it when they justify a character's actions by just not developing them.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. It's tough. Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
No, I was going to say that's why, in some ways, we've seen the rise in popularity of games like, once again, Mass Effect or the Fallout series or the Elder Scrolls series, because those games, you are the person that gets to make these choices and how your character reacts.
Yeah.
So you have a direct connection to this character.
Right. Essentially, it's you in this setting, or an alternate version of you if you choose to be an asshole and you're not really an asshole.
Yeah.
Right. I like to play as a female in a tutu in every game that I can.
I mean, real talk. I'm almost always female in every game I play.
You really are. I don't know if I've ever seen you play a John Shepard run.
I've got a couple out there. Maybe like back in the day.
Mass Effect is the one game, I don't know why, I can't play as Jane Shepard. I don't know why. It's it's the weirdest specific thing I can't do. And I think that's because I love so many of the female characters who can only be romanced by a male Shepard in the later games.
Enough.
Where it's
I was going to say the same thing about the male characters. Like, I wish I could romance Garrus anyway. Not just as Lady Shep.
And, like, having those options is always preferable in my mind.
Absolutely. That's what's cool about Dragon Age, getting off topic a little bit, but, like, the Dragon Age games have done a really good job of being, like, inclusive for, like, who you can romance and who you cannot romance.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and they've done a really good job of, like, introducing characters all over any kind of spectrum you can imagine, which I think is super cool. And that's why I like those games. That's a little off topic, and I apologize.
Yeah, we spent like 15, 20 minutes on Digimon.
Hey.
Listen, none of this is off topic because it's all about games that we love and games that we enjoy.
That's true.
And like, for me, like, just games I love are all the story-based ones, to the point where I will absolutely forgive bad or even unforgivable gameplay if I think the story's fine. And, like, like Halo Wars, I love the story, but goddamn, is that a bad RTS game?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, oh, hey,
you know what? It wasn't bad for, like, being on the consoles.
And for what it was.
It wasn't bad for being on the consoles or for what it was. It was bad because of the difficulty. Because here's the first 3 levels. They're a flat line, and then you get to level 4 or 5, and it shoots up to the hardest shit you can imagine. And then it shoots back down to, like, medium difficulty for, like, 1 or 2 missions. And then you get another huge spike up that's, like, so annoying for an RTS game because you have to wait. Like, you have to wait, sneak out to, like, find resources and things like that. And if you take too long, the big threat of that mission just kills you.
Oh, Jesus.
Because the Covenant are building, like, a scarab that's, like, 5 scarabs in one. So it's, like, you have to destroy it, like, super fast, but you also need the resources to build up a base and make units that can actually fucking fight it. And it's so unfair
Right.
of a mission. And then there's like the bonus skulls where it's like, oh, you can make it so every unit that dies has a 5% chance of exploding.
Cool.
And I thought, oh, that means an entire group of units. So I won't run into it too much. I shoot one grunt, it blows up, 2 more blow up, it wipes out both armies.
Oh, jeez. That's
Wow.
kind of hilarious, actually.
It
But,
is.
really
It's like,
chaotic.
but it's not a good, like, gameplay thing.
Right.
But I love the story. Like, I find some of the characters really good. So I occasionally
Yeah,
have
that's
gone back to it and have just been like, yeah, like, oh, wait, no, now I remember why I haven't played this in 2 years.
Fair enough.
Right.
To see what the
But, like-
second one's going to be like, too.
Right. Because that's coming out pretty soon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because recently I've gone into Street Fighter V, and for the longest time I was into, and I know Chris is still into Heroes of the Storm, which is like the first MOBA that him and I both got into. And obviously, being a fighting game and being a MOBA, the story and the character development isn't there.
Not
Like,
even a little bit.
Yes,
yeah.
Heroes of the Storm has like lore, but it's not in game. You have to go outside the game to find
Yeah.
most of it.
For me, my closest experience to that would be Overwatch. Like, the characters aren't
Right.
developing themselves in game. It's external stuff that makes them cooler.
Yep.
But these games are still interesting to us because the gameplay is fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The gameplay is very enjoyable.
And there's like a competitive aspect to it that kind of like feeds your need to succeed, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't be playing Street Fighter still if it was just the story mode. I like it. I love it because I can go online or I can play against Brett and I can like kick somebody's ass, get my ass kicked, learn from it, and just like have a good time competing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Even
that's-
if like you get bodied and you're sad, it's still like, well, I learned something from that.
Yeah, it's like, for me, when I was doing some fighting games with people like, on recordings, I have that weirdest habit in a fighting game of when I panic, I start to jump like crazy. Which,
You know,
Pretty common.
which for who I was fighting at the time, Rashid, that is not a defensive mechanism, that is you doing the equivalent of lying down with a sword over your neck. Because it's like,
Yeah.
his air game is really strong.
So good. Let me tell you
Absolutely.
about watching play Rashid and just ruin my day anytime I tried to do anything.
Yeah.
So good.
It's okay though. You got a geef.
Dude, I got a Geef, but sometimes when Geef panics, he jumps when Geef shouldn't be jumping.
Though
Yo, that's
I'm
a
just
big man to be
picturing
jumping.
I'm just picturing Zangief jumping to like air tackle somebody and just figuring, unless it was Bison or maybe Balrog, they would die. Like, they would just die because like a flying elbow drop from Zangief should kill someone.
Yeah, doesn't
Yeah,
Geef
he's-
weigh like 800 pounds?
Oh, come on. He's like 500 some. He's
That's
big boy.
That's half a ton.
He's a big boy.
He's big Geef.
Big
Now,
Geef.
Birdie's like 600 pounds.
And that's all
No,
the
he's like
donuts.
530.
That's all the
No way.
donut. The
Oh,
giant
no.
donut he pulls out at the end.
I love Birdie. He's so
Bir-
funny.
I didn't like Birdie, but then I played a few rounds against him and was just like, okay, yeah, this looks like a fun character.
Yeah, he just has fun mechanics, which I guess I don't know enough about Street Fighter to say whether or not those are things that have happened before, but it seems really unique in that game anyway, comparatively.
Hey, Birdie's only 507 pounds, okay?
Oh
No way, he's got to be fatter than that.
no!
No, 507. And
Wow,
he's 7 foot. He's 7'1". So like,
that's actually wow.
he's a big boy. He's
He's
a big boy.
Big boy.
I don't know if it counts the hair or not, though.
The hair's gotta add at least like
It adds another foot. Oh wow, that he is freaking huge.
Oh, he used to be buff. What happened, buddy?
Yeah, he used in I think it was Alpha. He was like an in shape guy. So I think it's an interesting design choice for them to be like, he's a slob now.
Yo, we made him fat now.
Things didn't go well when he left Shadaloo, so he turned to donuts.
Hey man, I don't blame him.
That
Donuts
sounds
are
like my
delicious.
life in a nutshell.
For me, it's muffins. I like. There's a bunch of coffee places on my campus, and like I have to resist so much to just go and order hot chocolate, two chocolate chip muffins. It's a struggle.
I 100% understand that feeling.
But I think the last question I'll ask is, what games are you or expansions are you excited for in 2017?
Whew, you know, for me, I'm all about. It's like a couple weeks away at Mass Effect Andromeda. Every time I see something for it, my life just gets a little better, and I can't even contain myself how excited I am for that game.
It's gonna get me back in. Because I was in a bad spot financially, so I had to sell, I think, just Mass Effect 1. But I had to sell a bunch of games, and the Mass Effect games were part of that.
It's sad.
Yeah.
I'm really, it's a one that's coming up. I'm really looking forward to Ukulele because
Yeah, that's
I spent a lot of time with the banjo games.
My most experience is watching the Super Beard Bros playthrough. I own both of them, but
They're so good.
I own both of
they're
them.
very good.
I played like 20 minutes of Mumbo's Mountain, went, this is an excellent game, and then haven't picked it up in 8 years.
Yeah.
It's like, it wasn't even like, this isn't for me or anything. It's like, no, this is a fantastic game I should definitely go back to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just didn't. I think I was really into Halo at that time.
Sure.
Which I never want to go back to. Those are the... I turned into one of those like racist 12-year-olds you see on Call of Duty with Halo.
Listen, I've been there. Oh,
It's the competitive nature.
Oh, it's just like I started getting good. I started like actually being able to no-scope people. And like I remember in Halo Reach, I was so into it. I signed up for a tournament. Xbox Live decided to have issues. I didn't get the tournament invite, and I went on a forum bashing this tournament that was raising money for cancer research.
Wow.
Woof.
There's a reason I try to avoid competitive games.
No, I dig. I end up saying a lot of words that I wish I wouldn't have said when I play competitive, especially Heroes of the Storm, because I get a little into that, and then definitely the bad words come out.
Oh yeah,
thoughts come out if I'm doing.
I've heard that's just MOBAs in general.
Right, real talk. MOBAs are horrifyingly toxic sometimes.
Like I have a friend who's super into Dota, and it's just like he's like, no, we're trash. We are a horrible community. Because like if someone's doing good, we're bashing them. If someone's doing horrible, we're bashing them.
Yeah, sounds like a really good game to get into.
I mean, I'm sure it's great mechanically.
That's up for debate.
I don't have enough information to debate this.
It's incredible. There are still some very good games coming out this year.
Yeah,
Like-
I was looking at that right
we
now.
we started off strong with games like Resident Evil 7.
Breath of the Wild.
Resident Evil Breath of the Wild just came out.
My sister and I caved. We bought the Wii U version because we don't have enough money for a Switch.
Hey, I've heard like not bad things about the Wii U version.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
I've heard like the only real difference is graphical fidelity because they
Sure,
have to
basically the
cut
same
out
thing.
particles and things like that.
It's
And,
basically
like-
the same thing that happened when Twilight Princess was released for the GameCube as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I'm really excited, just like looking at this like list that I pulled up. I'm excited for Tekken 7, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Ni no Kuni 2, Sonic Mania, Super Mario Odyssey, The Crash Bandicoot trilogy.
Oh my god, that's
Oh
right.
yeah, that's coming out. So
Like-
I just pulled up a list as well.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
looking at them right now. Kingdom
man,
Hearts, the HD remixes, 1.5 and 2.5.
Cuphead.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
Cuphead.
so excited for Cuphead. If it actually comes out this year.
Persona 5.
my girlfriend has been like waiting since the initial pre-orders went out for it.
Well, she must be upset then that.
Oh
it
yeah,
got pushed
she
back,
is.
'cause
And
I think it was supposed to be released like a week ago.
2014.
Yeah.
2014.
Yeah.
Like, there's still the original advertisements for Ready to Break Some Hearts, February 14th, 2014.
Yeesh.
I know, like, that sucks, but to me, it's like, I would rather have a game be delayed and be good
Oh
than
yeah,
have problems.
There's a very famous Miyamoto quote that goes, what is it? A game that's delayed can still be good, but a game that's released and is bad forever.
yeah. I completely agree with that, actually. Just because, like, we've seen games launch badly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we've seen some very bad games launch. And then eventually, after, like, years of patching, they're finally tolerable.
Passable games, yeah.
Like, oh wow, I forgot Fire Emblem Echoes is coming out in May.
Oh yeah, new Fire Emblem too. That's right.
Yeah, it's remake of a game we never got. That one's gonna be fun, and I pray to God they don't have child units.
Whoa, hold on, guys. Double Dragon 4 came out in January.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Did you guys ever play Double Dragon? I think it was on Sega.
I have Double
didn't play
Dragon.
Double Dragon?
I have Double Dragon Neon on Steam, and I haven't booted it up.
Dope. I'm just looking at. Oh my god, I can't believe there's a fourth one. I'm gonna look at the pictures for it.
Oh man,
yo, Chris is gone.
no,
He's never
no.
coming back.
Oh my god, it's a
He
platformer
is sucked into
too?
this.
Or like the original, like beat 'em up. Oh my god.
Well, people are hyped for Windjammers. I've been seeing a lot of hype for that and things.
Isn't Windjammers out already?
I don't know. It's saying like in oh, it's just the rest of 2017, so it's probably already out. But like we're
Maybe.
apparently going to be getting the next Professor Layton game, which is
Oh,
Lady
cool.
Layton.
Oh, and I'm really excited for ARMS.
ARMS.
Like ARMS looks like it'll be like a really fun game.
That's probably
I don't know how competitive it'll be.
it's probably going to get me in shape.
Oh yeah, Arms looks dope. I forgot
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, like the second I saw that, I just thought, oh, okay, this is just this is the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game I want.
See, ARMS feels like Wii Boxing if Wii Boxing was good.
Oh, well, they have actual
Shots
controller
fired.
option, so motion controls are not required, though they have been said to be the ideal way to play.
Yeah, and I'm sure like the motion controls are going to be much better for this one.
Yeah, improved upon.
Yeah. Like, from what I understand, people have managed to play it early, or just like, no, it's good.
It's solid.
It's gonna be how will the competitive scene react to it will determine its longevity. And
Well, we sort of already saw a little bit of that. A couple weeks ago, there was a vote going on for what game to play at Evo.
oh yeah,
and,
ARMS was up there.
ARMS was up there. It was a weird choice to have, though, since it's not even out yet. It obviously
Right.
doesn't have a community. It'd be like if they put Splatoon up against Counter-Strike.
Oh
Like, they're
god.
very different communities.
Yeah, Splatoon's actually you're able to get into it. I'd like to think. I don't actually know if it is like that.
But they're just it's such a different game. Or it'd be more like if there was like a shooting or an FPS event similar to Evo in which they put Splatoon 2 there, which no one's ever played before. So how can you really pick Splatoon 2, you know?
Right.
Yeah. And then
Like-
I'm just looking over games that have both come out. Like, I still need to play Neo. Like, I've heard Neo is good.
Brett says it's really good. If you're into the Dark Souls games, it's good. It feels more to a Dark Souls than a Bloodborne because it's very defensive based.
Yeah.
Bloodborne's a lot more offensive.
Something that I don't like about it, and what I do like about the Dark Souls games is Dark Souls has these big, open but connected worlds, whereas Neo, you like go to a map and then you pick certain areas to go to.
That's sort of like Demon Souls in a way. Like, you have a central hub.
Sort of, because Demon Souls you had to like go to the shrines.
Well, no, you had a central hub that was this nexus,
Right.
and it's like, here are 5 worlds.
Right.
Like, but they were all still in this country.
It's the same thing to an extent, and that's what I realized while like watching Brett play Neo, but it doesn't feel good. That's the one gripe that I have with the
Yeah.
game.
Interesting. Really? I
I-
guess I haven't seen much of it.
Man, Nier Automata is probably gonna be the game I want to get at launch, but won't because I'm Let's Playing the first Nier, and I've played that demo, and I know if I am playing Nier Automata and then I go to record the first Nier, my hands will just cry because
Right.
it's everything I love about Nier, but with Platinum's best handling the gameplay.
Yeah. I think it's super exciting to see Platinum on board with there.
Well, and like according to Platinum, they were all fans of the original Nier, so you can pretty much guarantee as much weirdness as possible for gameplay variations are in there.
I think did it come out for PS4 today?
Yeah, it did. I get paid on the 15th, and then I'll probably pick it up and not put it in until I'm done recording Nier.
Well, and I was
Fair
gonna say I
enough.
think it comes out in 10 days on Steam as well.
Yeah, and that's something I'm interested to see, because I played the demo on the PS4. It was probably 60 frames a second. I can't tell. And
Sure.
it was fluid. It was great. It was everything I wanted. The music was there. The weird dialogue, the banter between party members was there. That sort of thing.
Right.
Mhm.
So all in all, I think like 2017 is looking like a really fun year.
Wow,
We're seeing a lot of good things, obviously with the Switch, a lot of continuation series, a few new IPs that are really exciting. And we haven't even gotten E3 announcements yet.
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, man.
Swath of stuff that we haven't even seen yet.
Yeah. I just realized that E3 hasn't even been announced yet.
So
Like-
we're going to see stuff there. Fingers crossed, like Microsoft does something, because
Right.
I feel sorry
Right now-
for the Xbox One fans.
it's just nothing right now.
It's like, it's Killer Instinct and Rare Replay. That's the only reasons I've heard to get an Xbox One.
In this day and age, a lot of console exclusives are gone,
Yeah, it's true.
but the PS4 console exclusives that they do have
Are good.
are really good. And obviously, the Switch is always going to have their Nintendo games.
Yeah, like the day I see Mario 64 on Steam is when I know Nintendo is out of the console business.
Right.
Though imagine the mods.
Yeah, holy crap.
Like if they gave Mario 64 mod support, you could probably get Mario Galaxy style levels
Right.
Oh, more than likely, yeah.
or 3D Kaizo levels.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's get Gerard to play something like that. No, I'm
3D
kidding.
Kaizo. Poor Gerard.
Well, that would just be bullet bills every direction.
You're right. Just come
Right.
every angle. You have to dodge and jump.
Yeah.
It'd be nothing but bouncing pianos.
Oh, that piano is still one of the scariest things.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, I can't believe we've been going for an hour.
Yeah, we have
Yo,
a good
it's
talk, though.
games.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
games. We love games. That's what I've.
Yeah.
That's now I just need to figure out if I can get any other guests on this sort of thing. I'm kidding. I'll figure something out.
I'm sure.
Get Brett to just talk about Street Fighter for an hour.
He
Oh,
wouldn't
wait, he
scratch
has
the
his
surface.
channel.
Yeah, right.
He has his
Barely
channel
get
for
into
that.
it.
But thank you both very much for
Yeah,
joining
of
me
course.
on this.
Appreciate
It was a
you
good
having
time.
me on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a great time. I appreciate it.
Well, let's all get a good night rest. Except for Gerard, who is probably out there completing some game.
Listen, Gerard doesn't actually sleep. Fun fact, Gerard is a member of the Undead.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's true.
No wonder
That's,
he's
that's how he's able to
handsome.
get everything done.
No wonder he's so handsome.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone knows the undead are handsome.
That's true. 92% of undead creatures are handsome. You gotta exclude zombies though, because
Well,
Those are the uggos.
it depends on how far in the zombie process they are. If they're just like, no, I just died, my body's not rotting yet, they can be handsome.
we're still okay.
We'll be fine for another week. Just look out for Purple Guy over there. He's gross.
He's gross, right?
Yeah.
What was that zombie movie with the one that like fell in love with the girl?
Oh, it was like Warm Bodies.
That was it. Oh boy.
It was, I think, supposed to be a parody of Twilight.
It was funny. It was actually very funny.
Well, anything's funny because Twilight's really easy riffing material.
Real talk.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thank you both very much for joining me on this.
Of course.
Of course.
Have a wonderful evening, you two.
Yeah, you too.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Let's let the good times roll.